Venus conjoining Jupiter at 14 degrees of Cancer. This is happening on August 12th at 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, I mentioned this before. I don't always have time in these transit classes to sit and talk about an aspect transit. And that's in part because the last several months we have had such blockbuster things to attend to and events to pay attention to. We haven't even really had time to get into any of these. So specifically picked this one to talk about for August because it is a notable and exciting, happy transit. It's one that we can look forward to, that we should be circling on our calendar and be excited that it's coming and try to take advantage of and harness the energy when we get there. So let's break this one down. Venus is the planet of love, peace, ease, and harmony. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion, wisdom, and luck. So as you can see and hear, both of those have pretty positive, supportive connotations, most ways that you cut them. Now, for a conjunction, so I said Venus is conjoining Jupiter, because Venus is a inner planet, it moves faster. So that means that Jupiter is at a certain degree point in the sky. In this case, by this day, it'll be at the 14th degree of Cancer. And Venus moving faster approaches it and they meet up, and then Venus will keep moving because Jupiter moves slower. Because it takes Jupiter an entire year to move through the sign of Cancer, whereas Venus, it's like a month. So it's going to be meeting up with it, boom, hey, we're friends, and then keep going. So that's what's happening with the conjunction. And an exact conjunction, so this 1:30 a.m. Eastern Time is when it goes exact, and that is where it's 0 degrees. So they are meeting at exactly the same degree and minute. So depending on the platform that you're looking at, you may, in your own chart, just see, I have my moon at 6 degrees, or it might say 6 degrees and 23 minutes. So that's the secondary number part that has a little tick mark next to it. So when it goes exact, all 4 of those numbers are exact and the same. You can, in understanding this transit and how it's picking up energy around you, or if we feel any sort of a buildup, thinking about that degree range. So you may start picking up a little bit of this when we get closer to that 5 degree or under the 5 degree less. So in this case, 9 degrees to 14 degrees plus 19. Venus and Jupiter are both what are referred to as benefic planets. And they tend to join up, aka conjoin, in the sky every 3 or so years, which is why this is notable. So the last time that this happened was April 30th, 2022 at 27 degrees of Pisces. So a different water sign, still a water sign though. So you could look back at that event if you wanted to see, hey, what came up that day? But we're also in a different area of your chart. We're not looking at Pisces. We're looking at Cancer. But as far as the gravity of it, like, was that particularly, important, enlightening, momentous? So this cosmic meeting is happening in the cardinal water sign of Cancer, which represents caretaking, intuition, emotions, memories, and ancestry. So it's holding the past. And we can expect right in and around this transit going exact, there to be a sense of flow, that's Venus, connection. One, because they are meeting up with each other, they are fusing their energies together, and also because Venus is focused on relationships, as well as even emotional satisfaction. So we're experiencing these 2 benefic planets happy in connection with each other in the sign of Cancer, which wants to have its emotions seen, held, understood, and also be cared for because it's always caretaking everybody else. So it's a great time to actually lean into nurturing yourself through self-care, finding joy. Venus wants to seek out joy and finding the silver linings. Jupiter, we're thinking about the optimism, we're thinking about the wisdom, we're thinking about the insights. What's the silver lining of X, Y, and Z situation in the Cancerian area of my chart? So we are, in general, we're pulling in intuition, emotions, wisdom, love, peace, joy, relaxation, all really, really positive, supportive energies, supercharged into that 14th degree of Cancer within your chart. Yeah, I mean, 8th house, this is honestly so awesome that it's happening there, because the 8th house has to do with many areas of life, one of them being mental health. So when we're thinking about self-care, how can we apply that healing, that joy, that expansion, that wisdom? It's a really great opportunity to funnel some of that energy into tending to your mind and your emotional state, perfect for Cancer as well, that emotional regulation. Similarly, the 8th house also picks up on finances as far as shared resources or inheritance. So maybe you have money that's flowing in. That'd be awesome. You also could have something that you learn about your finances or inheritance. Also, the 8th house picks up on transformation. So tied to self-care or not, but there's a death and rebirth piece. Things are shedding, things are being reborn, coming out on the other side of it. So you could receive the support, energy, flow, love and light, wisdom, luck, insights that help facilitate some of the transformation that you might need. So Tina, you'd want to think about Saturn. Is it at or close to this degree point? If it's not, it just means that Venus is going to go over it as it's transiting, and you can also pay attention to that day too. Because with Venus transiting, meeting up with your natal Saturn, that's going to carry a different signature than what we're talking about. And in some ways, kind of the opposite. Because in a lot of ways, Saturn and Jupiter are, opposite to each other. 19th and 12th. So what did we say this one was? This was 14. Yeah, okay. So we're right at and in the 5 degrees. So it could be picking up on some of those energies just a hair. Of course, you'll also want to look for when it's hitting each of them exactly, to give you a little something else. I am not an expert on the vertex. I cannot speak to it. I have not researched it, so I won't be able to help with that piece. As far as Saturn goes, Saturn is looking at adding structure, taking things seriously, constriction, more of the shedding energy. So kind of having that 1-2 of your natal Saturn being activated, but then the transiting Jupiter activation. So I'll clarify this as kind of to Trisha's question earlier. This Venus and Jupiter conjunction, these are 2 transiting planets versus Venus engaging with your natal Saturn or your natal Jupiter or your natal Venus. There's a different quality to them. So one of them is how it's activating your chart, and the others are 2 things activating each other and how that overlays onto your chart. And maybe it's hitting other planets, like in this case, this conjunction is 2 planets interacting with each other, and it's happening near a natal placement that you have. So there's a couple things happening simultaneously, and that's why I was bringing up, you could also check when Venus is conjoining those natal placements, because that's something separate, not tied to this event, but that would be happening just before or just after this is occurring. Cancer's in my 12th house. Yeah, so you're going to be similar in a lot of ways to that 8th house description I gave before. You're thinking about introspection, isolation, your self-undoing. You could have a really healing day. healing some of your emotional patterns, caretaking patterns, giving rather than receiving that could be contributing to your undoing, something that is a weak spot, something that has to be tended to and cared for, caring for yourself. Great to have it in this 12th house, really emphasizing the need for that self-care because it's going to help with your soul. So for the 8th house, it's supporting your mental health, emotional health. For the 12th house, it's soul work. So this could be like, the feeling of a deep meditation where you're like, oh, wow, like really coming out of that. So this would be a great day to spend a little quiet time by yourself in some self-care and allow the wisdom, insights of Jupiter to come through and Venus. So making it a fun sensory experience. So you could have, cozy blanket or candles or food or like whatever it is, so that it feels pleasurable at the same time rather than just, I'm sitting here by myself. Because it's supposed to be really deep, meaningful self-care. I may have Venus trining in Aries. So it wouldn't be trining because trines happen within the same signs, meaning the same element. So we're talking about Cancer. So a trine would be with Pisces or Scorpio. So it would be squaring potentially because cardinal signs are Cancer, Aries, Capricorn, Libra. So you'd be having a square, which would be applying tension to it. So Venus is wanting to activate and support the self-care practice and the really deep soul healing. And the square is meaning that it could feel particularly tough, but it's supportive to help you on the other side. So it might feel like you're kind of in an incubator situation, like it's really connecting to that relationship that you have with yourself, with your soul, with your healing work, with your emotions, with the ways that you kind of get in your own way, in life, in healing. So yeah, that would be it. That would be a square. Diana, just joined, wanted to start tied up at work. No worries, this is being recorded. Cancer's in the 2nd house for me, hoping this means I find a new job, brings me lots of money, looking for a long time. That's a really, really great interpretation. So it could mean that you have opportunities for money coming through to you, or that you get information, insights about an opportunity. But specifically, because we're talking about Cancer as well, it has to be supportive. It has to be something that allows you to care for others, but also care for yourself. Because with Cancer, we're always thinking about how do we negotiate the boundaries and make sure that we're not overgiving. Because what we do is we want to receive the money, we want to receive the new job opportunity. We can't do that if we're pouring from an empty cup. Yes, exactly. And that's because of Jupiter being planet of wisdom. So it's an opportunity for you to expand, but you could also just get some supportive information. Square sounds like an intense day. Does feel as if I'm on a journey. Absolutely. Again, these are with the benefic planets, though. You have the 2 benefic planets joining and squaring, but being a benefic natal placement. So it's supportive on the other side. But yeah, I would, especially because we're talking about 12th house here, I would give yourself the time and the space and to really look inward. And yeah, you'll get something on the other side.